And we're back talking baseball again, and I love talking baseball, so let's just sum it up that way. Our favorite game for the 2019 Diamond Hog season, Alyssa, you can start this off.
Yeah, mine, I'm going to go back to the Auburn series and that Game 2 against Auburn. It was a doubleheader, guys, of course, on that Friday. Arkansas had lost Game 1, but Game 2 went 15 innings, and I think that was really the turning point for Arkansas. Of course, there was the really impactful play at the plate where Auburn went from thinking they had won the game with a safe call to that call getting overturned. That's an out. Arkansas goes on to win it. Trevor Zell hits that home run in the 15th to help Arkansas seal that 9-6 victory. But I also think it had big implications for the rest of the season. Yeah. For me, that game is the one that I point to as they went on to win Game 3 and win the series at Auburn, is where this team realized we can hit, we can pitch, we can play defense. And they were able to get all three of those to sync up, and then that made them have their run that they did through the SEC.
And I think that's a great point, because when you think of a Dave Van Horn coach team, you don't think that four-game winning streaks, four-game losing streaks are going to happen a lot.
Right. Yeah.
And so they were coming off that. They had to snap that, and a big win against Auburn.
I also was sitting here watching it. We were all watching it, and I was like, he's out. He's safe. Oh, that was great. We were about to go on
What's
Little
going
Rock.
on? Yes.
It was a fun game to watch.
Yeah. Always fun at Baum Walker as well, and it was a big-time series against Mississippi State, Tara.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Mississippi State, we've seen them in the College World Series now. I mean, they are just a fantastic team, and Arkansas swept them. That third game, though, is the one that I point to when I look back on it, though. Connor Nolan came out, and he pitched 7 2/3 innings, which is the longest he had pitched all year. And it just kind of showed you what he has and what he's able to do, and maybe look forward to next season now that he's chosen to focus on baseball and only baseball. It's also just, it was such a big win for them to take that sweep at Baum Walker and, I mean, turn their season.
No doubt about it. And again, when you look at the season as a whole, they didn't lose very much at Baum Walker. Again, that was expected. But again, this team was projected as high as number 12 in the preseason, but goes all the way to Omaha, so exceeding expectations, these Diamond Hogs. I'm going to point to the LSU series. Why? Because they had to snap that long drought of LSU series where they could not get over the hump against the Tigers, and they got it done in 2 games. They closed it out. They said, okay, Game 2, we're just going to cap this thing. Obviously, that was a heartbreaker. They lost in Game 3, won the series 2 games to 1. But in that Game 2, LSU started that game very well. They were up 3-0. And Heston Kjerstad, I remember this because I was getting some food for Jason Carroll and I. Priorities, okay? And I'm watching my phone, and I'm like, this is something I'm going to remember for a long, long time. All of a sudden, I hear, and the ball's flying, and who hits it? Heston Kjerstad with a home run. This is pretty cool. So anyway, that food was really good, by the way, and Jason Carroll's vouched for that.
It was
one of those, something like that. Yeah, it was one of those food trucks.
Nachos.
Yes, absolutely. So LSU, Arkansas, and Arkansas wins that game 11-6, wins the series, and that was pretty awesome to see.
Yeah.
You know, when you just look at games as a whole, I mean, you got to look at that Ole Miss series. I think you got to say a series of games that really. Alyssa, I'll ask you about this, because the SEC tournament, they weren't really playing for anything, but they played Ole Miss twice, and maybe that helped them, obviously, in that Game 3 of Supers moving forward. Even though they didn't get past Ole Miss in the SEC tournament, you got to point to that game as well, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's in hindsight when you look back and you face a team so many times now. You're so familiar with them. They're familiar with you. But I think it really just speaks to the theme of the year, which might have been this team never was out of it. This team never thought that they were out of a game, and you can go to so many games, the Auburn game, the LSU game, the Ole Miss series, the Mississippi State series, that this team never thought they were out of it. And up until that 9th inning, 15th inning, they always had a chance to win. And I think that's the overreaching theme of the season.
Yeah, and I think of that Missouri series. That was the SEC opening series. You always want to set the tone the right way, but not only did they win the series, they swept it. And Casey Opitz capped it, so we'll go back to Casey just for a minute. That was big as well.
We love that guy.
Yeah, what did you think about that,
We're big
Tara?
fans of Casey
Yeah, I mean,
Opitz
you go
over
back
here.
to that. What do you remember about that series? Because that was huge, obviously, for Arkansas moving forward, because they had a little hiccup there against Alabama. They had to come back and win Game 3 of that to win that series, but setting the tone and winning in sweep style against Missouri in the opening SEC series.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, they set the tone for the season right there and kind of got on track, and it really carried through. Yes, they had a couple bumps in the road, but it's just baseball. That's how it is.
46-20, the Arkansas Razorbacks under Dave Van Horn, back-to-back trips to the College World Series. We have more of the Pig Trail. It is coming up after this.